In today's video, I'm going to be sharing tips on responsive mobile design in Divi coming up. Hello everyone and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at different ways that we can design our websites and make them look great on mobile devices. Now that we have this brand new feature which allows us to preview our mobile views as we design our website. So let's dive in and let's get started. Before we get started here, I'd like to remind you that if you buy Divi using my affiliate link, you'll get access to my web design formula course, a course that teaches you how to design professional looking websites with Divi. All you have to do is to buy Divi using my affiliate link. And then once you've done that, just send me the receipt number and I will give you access to the course. This course will teach you everything that you need to know about designing professional looking websites with Divi. All right, so with that said, let's get started. And over here now, I'm in my WordPress admin dashboard. So what I'm going to do here is to just create a brand new page so I can show you all these different ways and different tips that you can use to design your web pages and make them look mobile friendly. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is let's give this a title. So let's just call this mobile. Okay, use the Divi builder. All right, so instead of designing this from a pre-made layout, we are going to be designing this from scratch. So I'm going to click here where it says start building, and I'm going to choose the layout that I need for this. So in my first example here, I'm just going to add a text module here like that. Right. So here we have a text module. So let's just save this. So the first thing you need to do when you want to optimize for mobile devices is to come over here to the bottom, click here on any of these icons. So this now gives us this new interface. Okay, so as we can see here, everything looks great. And if I were to drag this, it has beautiful space here on the sides, which means we don't have to go in and adjust this. So what we have here is perfect. Okay, but there are cases where perhaps maybe this is way too long, so you want to have a specific width. So this is where now there's several ways you could do this. So let's go back to our normal view here. So if you were to come over here to my section settings and go into design spacing and give a padding on the left and right, but give this a specific number, like for example, let's go with 300 pixels, right? And we want the same to the right as well. In fact, this is a bit too much. Let's go with 200 pixels. Okay. So let's say this is how you want to lay it out. Okay. What happens now is, and by the way, you can also go in here and extend it if you want to adjust it, and you can do this visually. So what happens now when you put a fixed amount here of padding, let's take a look and see what this looks like now in tablet view. Now you notice that this does not look good at all because we've given this a fixed 200 pixels on the left and the right. So you have to be aware of this. Do not add pixels on the side. In fact, in a moment, I'm going to show you the best way to do it. And this even looks worse on a mobile device. And if you were to design your website this way, I'm telling you, your client wouldn't be happy and you wouldn't even be happy as well. Okay, so let's fix this problem. So I'm going to go back now over here. So instead of using pixels, in fact, let's go back over here. Go into design spacing. Okay, instead of going into pixels here, what you can do is use percentages. Okay, so let's say 10%. Okay, now that we've added 10%, let's have a look here quickly and see if everything is okay. And you know what, I could actually increase this a little bit, maybe to about let's say 17%. Okay, so we're going to go with 17%. Now if I were to switch over and go to my tablet view, let's see what happens. So over here now, do you notice that it's not too bad because this is now relative to the screen size. So percentages work as relative to the screen size or the width size. Okay, now if we go to mobile, we notice that it's not too bad at all. In fact, this is beautiful. Okay, so percentages work really well for padding if you want to do responsive design. Okay, so let's move on to the next example. And in the next example, we are going to be talking about images. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since I love this 17%, I am going to just duplicate this, because what's the point of going in and trying to adjust things, in different many ways. So we know that 17% here is working great. So we're going to duplicate this and then add all our elements that we need to add in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to just get rid of this. And then I'm going to go with, let's say 3 columns. Right. So with these 3 columns now, you can add anything that you want in these columns. So let's add a blurb, and I'm going to show you how beautiful this is going to look now once we've adjusted everything. Okay. So there's our first blurb. Now we can go further ahead and adjust the size of my text here. Let's bring it down a little bit like that. Okay. So you can see here, my blurb looks great. I can duplicate this now twice, have this in position, and finally let's have this one here in position. So do you notice now that when you take a look at my content here, it has equal white space on the left and the right? Now I think this is a bit too much here. I may need to go in and reduce this a little bit, maybe to about 13, and I'm going to do the same here as well, because that's a bit too much. There we go. Okay. So this looks much better now. Okay. So as you can see, moving forward, what you want to do is to duplicate all these sections so that you have the equal padding both on the left and the right. Okay. So moving forward, let's do another example here. So let's say we add a button here. Okay. So I'm going to add my button like that. So let's say my button here is all centered like that, and this is a call to action. And what I want to add here is perhaps maybe this is to download something. So let's go in and change the text. And over here in the text, I'm going to say download now. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead now and save that. Now, when someone is visiting your website on a mobile device, of course, they can't download whatever it is you want them to download on a smartphone. So the wording here has to change to maybe more information, or perhaps maybe even direct them to a totally separate page. So you want to make sure that your messaging is right for both mobile devices and also for desktops. So in this case here, we need to change that button and then make it show on mobile devices only. So let's go ahead and do that. So over here now, what I'm going to do is to duplicate this, and then I'm going to go into the button settings here. And instead of saying download now, I am going to say more info. Okay. Because of course they can't download anything on their mobile phone. Okay, so now that I have these 2 buttons, what I'm going to do now is to come over here to the advanced tab, and then we're going to go to visibility. So this is where now you can say, you know what, I want this disabled on the desktop. Okay, but you want it to show on the tablet and the phone, and then we are going to save this. Next, I'm going to come over here to this button here and do the same thing, but this time I am going to disable this on the phone and also on the tablet, which means this is only going to show on the desktop. So now when we save and then we go to our devices here, you notice that it's grayed out in the tablet view. And even when I do that, you can see that it is still grayed out. So this won't show, but as soon as I go to desktop mode where I am now, this button now is showing. So this is one way that you could show information on desktops, which does not show on mobile devices. So it's very, very important that you really go through your pages and see what messaging needs to show on which device. It's very, very important. Now, let's move on to the next part. So this part here is all about images. And you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to duplicate this as well. Okay, so now that I've duplicated this, I'm going to pretty much delete this, and I'm going to add my image in here. So I'm going to search for image module, and here it is. So here on the images, I'm going to go into my media library here and choose my image. So I'm going to go with this image here to begin with. So that's going to be my main image. But I want you to take a note of this next tip. Now, this is very, very important because sometimes there are images that don't look great on mobile devices and some that look great on mobile devices. So this is where you want to go in and make sure you have the right image for the right screen size. So what I'm going to do now is to click on this little icon and I'm going to go into tablet, but in tablet view, I want to change this image and use a totally different one. So I'm going to go with this one here, and then on the mobile, I'm going to make sure it's this one. So here we go. So on the desktop, we have this one. On the tablet, we have this one here. And then on the phone, we have this one. So we are able to go in and change the content or the images based on the screen size. So now let's do a quick preview and see if this is working okay. So back over here now, we're going to save. And you can see here the image that's showing is the one for my mobile devices. And if I change this, same image, as you can see. But if I come over here, boom, it changes. So now we are able to go in and change content based on the screen size. Okay, so here's the final thing. So once we have all this set, right, what you want to do is to go in now and just make sure everything is looking great on these devices. So I'm going to come over here to design. I'm going to go into text because this is the text that I'm targeting. So here on this text, I am going to come over here to text size. Click here on this little icon. And again, this is another way of seeing our preview here. So what I just want to do here is just to make sure I drag this. And if this is looking great pretty much throughout, that's really what I'm looking for. But as you can see here, I think this would look much better if everything was centered on the smartphone and also on the tablet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to come over here to my tablet view, right? So in my tablet view here, for my text, I'm going to come all the way down here to alignment. So I'm going to hover over here, click on this little icon. So on the tablet view, I want everything to be centered, okay? Because my button is also centered. And I also want to do the same on the phone, make sure everything is centered, okay? So that's looking great now. And this is per view. So you can see here, the text is fine. It is normal, but it is now centered on the different devices. Okay, so let's do this one more time. So now I can view my text here, and as I'm dragging here, everything is all centered. It's looking great, and I'm really happy with this, right? And this is what you need to do to make sure that everything is looking great in all the devices. And you can go now to the second section here. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to reduce this and see if everything is in place. And to be honest, I'm pretty much happy with this. Okay, now let's go to the final part, which is this image here. So as I'm dragging, pretty much it's okay. But you know what? I would need to go in and reduce the padding here on the top on this mobile view. But otherwise, everything seems okay. And as you can see here, it is looking great. So once you're happy with that, you can just publish your page. And when you exit your Visual Builder, you can also try and play around with this and see if it's looking great. So as you can see here, it is definitely working. I can see here that everything is all centered. And when I scroll down here, that's my right image and everything looks great. And let's keep on going until we get to pretty much like a mobile view. And to be honest, this looks great as well. And my button now is showing more info instead of the download now. So now if I go back, you can see as soon as I reach that breakpoint, now it's showing the download now. But when I come back over here, it's showing the more info. So this is how you do responsive design. You really want to make sure that your website has the right information for your audience, no matter what screen device they are using. So these are the tips that I thought I would share with you. So if you have any tips, please let me know in the video description below. So that's all I have for you in today's video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell notification. By doing so, you'll be notified when I release new tutorials. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.